So welcome to the second video, and this one is going to touch off more philosophical concepts and go really deep into emotions. And it's not people's favourite thing, and I know some emotions feel like crap, they feel horrible, and some emotions feel fantastic, they make us uplifted. But what really are emotions and where do they come from? So the first thing I want to justify here is we are not our emotions. And a lot of people relate emotions to I, self, me. And I hear people say, I don't know if I can ever not feel this way, or I feel so angry, I feel like such an angry person the whole time. And those things aren't true. None of them are true. So I'm going to give an example that I think that might help with this concept a little bit. So if we think about an ocean and a wave. So the ocean we can see, it's real, it's there, and it's beautiful. So think about the ocean as us, people, beings. So we're not going to put I or self or anything like that, we're just going to put beings and souls. I like those words, I use them a lot. The ocean is just there. When a wave comes in, the ocean does not create that itself. Yes, it comes from the ocean, number one, it comes and goes. So a lot of people, if they're writing or doing poetry, they relate emotions to waves, because like a wave, it comes and goes. But to create a wave, it needs a dependent cause or dependent causes. So the wind, for example, and movement, push. That's how a wave is formed. The ocean did not take out a sketch pad and start drawing a wave and then the wave would come out. But waves aren't permanent either. So you don't see a wave and it'll go up and then it'll stay like that for its entire lifetime. No, it comes back down. But depending on the wind or the movement, it might be big, it might be small, it might be quick, it might be longer. That's emotions. They are emotions. So we are the ocean and emotions are waves. We are not our emotions, we cannot create them. When I'm needing a bit of happiness and joy, I would probably meditate, do yoga, or do some art, for example. There's my dependent cause. I need the dependency of that activity in order for me to feel happy. When we feel angry, it could be from an experience, it could be from people or a person, it could be from an argument, whatever it may be, but it's never from you alone. Like, you don't wake up with no thoughts and go, I'm going to create anger. We can't do it. It has to come from a dependent cause. So therefore, we are not our emotions. They are real and we feel them completely, but they come from those dependent causes like environment or socialization or whatever it might be. But it always has to be something creating that emotion, not us, but that thing in itself. Nothing is permanent, absolutely nothing. We are, and we're constantly changing. So if you're worried about a certain situation and you're saying, am I going to feel like this forever? Absolutely not. But we need that understanding before we go further. How do we cope with this? How do we cope with these emotions? Like, we understand, yes, they are not permanent and they are separate to the self. When we actually separate them for what they are, they don't seem as controlling. And we feel controlled by our emotions because we start to relate them to us. We gain identity through emotion, but we also lose identity because we don't know who we are. Are we anger? Are we sadness? You know, it's like that movie Inside Out. I have all the little emotions in the brain, but they are the actual emotions, like joy and sadness and anxiety. But that's obviously not how it is. But that's what we think we are. I always say to people, show me what anger looks like, and they'll make a face and like, this is how I feel. But they're not showing me what actual physical anger looks like, because it's not a thing, it does not exist in that way. So therefore, it cannot control us. We are our main controller. An emotion does not exist physically at all, and only comes from a dependent cause. So do not worry yourself. Now again, in saying we feel it, really, it's really real in that sense, but it cannot control us because it has no physical matter. So please know that you're not going to feel this way forever. Please know that there is support out there as well if you are feeling overwhelmed. And you are not your emotions, you are you. And that's a self-discovery, and it's a beautiful discovery. And as well, if we're having conflict with somebody, this is a small little thing. If we're feeling really agitated and it's sticking to our minds, we're like, for God's sake, you know, take a breath. Remember that the energy that you give will not be received back by these people, and they will more than likely forget of your existence an hour after an argument has occurred. I'm talking the likes of, for example, I work in retail, so we might get customers that might be a little bit rude or unkind or impatient, but that's their emotions to deal with. Don't take on their emotions. Don't take on that frustration that they are feeling. And we bring in this sort of complex compassion, I call it, because you might think, why would I be compassionate about that person? They have just told me to bugger off and, you know, that I'm wrong. It's compassionate in a way that we let go of how they're feeling. We step back, we say, do you know what? Okay. Because we have no idea about that person. And it's not that we are excusing their actions, it's that we're reasoning their actions. But that does not mean that we have to forgive their actions or take on their actions and take on their feelings or anything like that. We're just stepping back and reasoning, which will always make you stronger. But you step back and protect your energy. It's important. So that's like my biggest way of coping with things. But I thought I'd make this short video anyway, and I hope it helps anyone watching. And if it does, I'm so happy it does. Talk about emotions, I'm happy. But thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all really greatly, for whoever opens this video and takes even a second to look. But thank you so much for watching, and then I will speak to you again soon.